Hey guys, so a lot of my commenters have been asking me what my thoughts were on the Kilroy event and the TAC event, both seemingly imploding from within as they're trying to get organized. And my first knee jerk reaction to that is that's drama that I don't need to be a part of in any way, like even with my opinion being out there. So I waited a little while. I'm after the iron. It was hot. I am now striking when it's cold, and I feel like my longtime viewers who have been with me for years are asking for my perspective because I am somebody who has organized events that had big names and were very large draws, such as hosting Richard Dawkins at the Colorado Community College, or hosting Mikey Weinstein at UCCS, and even my girlfriend Misty has gotten James Randi to show up at an event for the Mile High Skeptics. So, in the past, years ago, we were getting these big names to show up to things, and our organization seemingly was very good, but you don't put your worst foot forward when you are organizing the events. You don't tell people what problems you've had up front, as you know as people seem to have been doing now with such openness here on the internet. And there weren't mobs of people trying to undermine the event by showing how poorly it was organized. And if there were, I'm pretty sure there would have been some internet drama, if they were able to dig like they have dug with the Kilroy and TAC events. There were no large name YouTubers who were trying to disagree with the event before it even happened. That aside, I largely have gone away from that entire scene, and I have found things that fulfilled what I wanted to see in my community a little bit better than a convention, right? And I think the biggest takeaway you guys should have from this is that I have a lot less hubris in me than I did back then, and I don't have a desire to see throngs of people all show up to an event, all expecting different things out of the event. And I really feel like the reach of YouTube is enough for most of the ideas that could be presented at a panel, at a convention where everyone's spending hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars during their stay there, and we could do the exact same effect on the whole world by just turning on our cameras. We are YouTubers. That's what we do. Even then, there are feelings that will pop up in any human being where they want to converse with other human beings. And what I found since leaving the convention scene, after posting convention after convention video here on my YouTube channel, what I found after leaving that scene for a few years is that I really value the ability to talk to one person for more than 10 minutes, more than what happens at those conventions. So sit down brunches with the Colorado YouTube Club, or even the upcoming Skeptic Camp, to me, they are just better at what they're trying to do. The spreading of ideas rather than the accumulation of a lot of people in one room that all agree with an idea. And as far as the panels themselves, in say a giant convention versus a very tiny gathering like Skeptic Camp, right? If you were to have this giant panel and then there's thousands of people that all want to ask a question and they have to wait till the end for the 5 to 15 minutes of time where questions can be asked, how well has that gone? You know, there's 100 people that want to ask a question and 5 people get to, and those are the first 5 that got to the microphone, you know, and sometimes you think that they're the first 5 that got there because they were all on crack, because their questions were stupid and rushed. And, you know, how well has it worked in conventions like VidCon where you see somebody who has a dissenting opinion about what was said on the panel, and then they get removed from the questions line for asking a very pertinent question? How well is that working? You know, at the smaller end of the spectrum, as far as gatherings go, we have Skeptic Camp, which I've been a speaker at least 3 Skeptic Camps now, and I'm going to the next one in Fort Collins, and I'm not going to be a speaker because I don't have the time to put on a show, and I don't have the ego that needs to be stroked. I have you guys, you know, and I can get more views on this video right now than will be showing up to the next Skeptic Camp because it's capped at 35 people. And I guarantee you more than 35 people are going to watch this video, right? I have an ability to reach people and get very poignant questions out of my commenters that people who need Skeptic Camp to put on a presentation don't have sometimes. So I'll leave it to them. I'm still going to watch, and I'm still going to probably, from the peanut gallery, ask some questions, but I don't have the need to steal the spotlight anymore, you know? And I feel like most of the people who are involved in TAC or Kilroy, after a couple of years, they're going to get to that spot in their lives where they realize what's important, and they don't have to headline something like that to stroke their egos, you know? If I were to go to the Skeptic Camp for Fort Collins that's coming up and look at the talks that are planned, Linda Rosa is doing a talk called 20 Years After, and I don't know what happened 20 years ago, but that's what the talk is about. Doug Holland is doing When Normal People Believe in Crazy Things, Why Stating Facts Won't Persuade Them, and What Does Work to Persuade. And that really does seem like a skeptic topic. If you want to go to see skeptics talking about being skeptics, that seems right up there. Jamie Folsom is doing a presentation called Chicken Sweaters and Other Pharmaceutical Oddities. And it's spelled farm pseudo-cull. So it's like 2 puns in one word. And yeah, that also seems like a skeptic topic. And after they speak for 15 or 20 minutes, there'll be 15 or 20 minutes of questions. And in this small gathering of people at Mulligan's Pub up in Fort Collins, we can stop them in the middle of what they're saying. See, having someone curate who gets to talk at a convention does not mean that bullshit will not come out of their mouths, right? Many times it means that the bias of the curator will show up in the people that they select. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be quality to them, right? And so when they are given this stage, this platform, where they can speak for, say, 45 minutes, and in that speech there were a few times where they said something that was wrong, objectively wrong, and they aren't stopped except for a couple mutters from the crowd that are going to patiently or courteously wait for the question and answer portion to show up. And then that question and answer portion shows up at the end, and the people who are first in line don't address the bullshit that popped up in that. And the answers to those questions go on for long enough time to stretch it out so that the bullshit never gets addressed. That is not productive, right? When I go to skeptic camp, if someone is speaking and there's just 35 people in there, it's actually expected that it's going to be interactive. And anyone from the crowd can say, can I correct you on that right there? You know? Can we stop right there and hash this out for a second, because I'm not following you, you know? And I feel like that's a lot better. It's a lot better at getting the results that ostensibly these meetings want. You know, these gatherings are supposed to be about. And even after that, the skeptic camp people are going to have you know, a dinner and talk, and if you need more time to talk with the other people, you can get it. You know, it's not like people are going to go off and have their own little side meetups on the side where they want to be cliquish. You know, you can go sit down with these people. None of them are trying to become stars of any community by putting on these talks. And yeah, it's just so much better of an experience, the small local thing. If you want to start your own skeptic camp, you can. You just go on the wiki and you just post that you're going to run your own. Then you go to some place that you know that you can get a venue, like, say, your local library, and you get their room for whatever rate that they're renting it. In my area, it's like $25 to $35 for the day. And then, poof, you've got your little auditorium where you can hold like 50 people. And you can have your own little meetup. Even smaller than that, for me, I feel like I've gotten a lot more out of the Colorado YouTube Club. And just hosting brunches where we talk about video making. And, you know, maybe a dozen people will show up. And 3 people who RSVP'd won't come. And then 3 people who never RSVP'd and just saw it at the last minute, they'll show up. And they aren't even on the list. We don't even know who they are. And we're not afraid of them. You know, it's not like we're afraid that somebody's going to be some strange, creepy stalker that's going to want to hug me with a knife. No. That shit's never going to happen. And, first of all, I'm not that big. And I don't have that big of a head to think that somebody would ever think to come to something uninvited and then want to hurt me. You know, so there's no real security need. You know, if I'm looking at things with a clear perspective, it's like when I see on the other end of things people having to have a budget for security for skeptics, that's just crazy. You know, and that budget is in the tens of thousands for the event. The hell? You know? It just doesn't make sense that people are coming together for a peaceful get-together and to hear the people that they want to hear, and you need that much money for security, and you need to put on this lavish event, and everyone has to have their lunches provided for them. You know, there's no lunches provided at a skeptic camp. If there's a get-together at pub afterwards, it's separate checks. Poof, organized. You know, you don't have to deal with, oh, well, are half of my convention attendees going to be vegan, and are they going to reject my lunch? Oh no, you know, whatever. I'm going to leave links to a meetup and a skeptic camp in the description box, and you guys can see how the different organization happens, and even lack of organization as far as skeptic camp goes, because it's kind of crowd organized. You know, the wiki helps in that respect, but people put on the talks that they want to put on. You know, and the filtering happens with the questions from the attendees, you know, remarking, hey, I don't know that I agree with that. And there's no need for thoughts of bias or people getting snubbed, you know, none of that. It's just an event that people go to and have a good time, and there's no drama. Why have you not heard about skeptic camps more in the past few years? It's because there isn't a lot of drama that derives from them. People just go, have a good time, and then they return to the next one, you know, whenever it comes to town, because someone decided to organize it again the next time. You know? That's all I've got on these conventions as they are imploding on themselves with drama. If you are a purveyor of drama on YouTube regularly, then maybe you need to think, hey, that same drama that I like to stir up all the time is probably going to be visited on my event by the same people that I usually start drama with. And if you're the kind of person who just likes to hear a good talk, or just likes to give a good talk, think about some of the venues that actually provide that sort of a platform for you. Take care.